Hi, welcome to FinFlow Podcast. Have you ever found yourself just staring at your bank statement, maybe near the end of the month, and there's that little chill, that thought of where did all my money actually go?
Oh, yeah. That feeling is pretty universal, I think, that disconnect.
Right. Or maybe it's that nagging feeling, like despite your best efforts putting money aside, your financial progress just isn't, well, it's not what you hoped it would be.
That sense that it's just slipping through your fingers somehow.
Exactly. Slipping away almost without you noticing. It's real anxiety, isn't it?
Hmm.
And probably something we've all felt at some point, kind of quiet frustration. Well, today we're not just acknowledging that feeling, we're actually going to dive deep into it. Our mission today is to unpack a really compelling and maybe sometimes, let's be honest, provocative set of observations. They come from a source titled Money Mistakes: How the Poor Waste Their Wealth.
Yeah, that title alone, it's definitely designed to get your attention.
It is. Let's be upfront about that. It can certainly hit a nerve, and the source material itself kind of admits it's meant to challenge, conventional thinking.
Which can be uncomfortable.
Absolutely. But for this deep dive, we're setting judgment aside. That's really important. Our goal isn't to assign blame or to, preach. It's more about shining a bright, impartial light on specific financial habits. Habits and expenditures that this source material suggests might be, well, silently holding people back from reaching their financial potential.
It's about examination, not accusation.
Precisely. We're going to examine each point, look at it analytically, provide context, think about the implications, not to point fingers, but really to see what nuggets of wisdom or maybe what urgent wake-up calls we can pull out for your own financial journey.
So you can decide what resonates, what maybe doesn't.
Exactly. Think of it as an analytical exploration. It's designed to help you understand these patterns and why our source believes they hinder progress. So, okay, let's really unpack this. What makes this source so fascinating, I think, is its explicit goal. It's very candid. It wants to highlight possible financial missteps that, in its view, are stopping people from moving forward.
Right. And we'll explore each one, and hopefully it gives you, the listener, a chance to consider what might connect with your own experience or maybe what challenges it. It's really about self-reflection, isn't it? Not condemnation.
That's the key.
The core idea is just to illuminate these potential blind spots. Get each listener thinking, genuinely, are any of these patterns maybe subtly playing out in my own life?
Because often the biggest drains aren't those huge, obvious purchases, are they?
No, exactly. As the source really points out, it's often the cumulative effect. Small habits we don't fully understand or even acknowledge sometimes.
It's about getting a clearer picture of where the money is truly going, not just where we think it's going. All right, let's dive in. Let's kick off with a financial tool that, for so many people, it feels almost essential today. But our source issues a really, really strong warning about it. Credit cards.
Ah, yeah.
The source literally calls them the last thing poor people should be touching.
That's pretty strong language.
It is. It's stark. It's deliberately provocative, I think.
So what's the reasoning? Why is the source so vehemently against them?
Well, it doesn't just issue a warning. It uses this really vivid analogy. It describes credit cards as, and I'm quoting here, digging yourself deeper and deeper into a hole you'll never be able to escape.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
so the argument really pivots on something deeper than just, say, interest rates.
Yeah.
It says credit cards are basically used to trade temporary finance for someone's time and livelihood.
Okay, break that down. Time and livelihood. It implies this really profound shift in ownership. The source's view is that the moment you go into debt, especially consumer debt like credit cards, you're essentially no longer working just for yourself.
Mm,
A part of your future earnings, your future time, your sort of personal freedom is effectively promised mortgage to whoever you owe money to until that debt is gone.
that's a heavy thought.
Hmm.
It really moves it beyond just numbers on a statement, doesn't it? It's about personal autonomy.
Absolutely.
And the source digs into specific behaviors, too, right?
Yeah.
It notes that poor people max out credit cards like it's a monthly hobby, and usually on non-essential things.
Exactly. So it's not just the existence of credit that's the issue in this view, it's how it's used, particularly for those fleeting desires, those non-essentials.
So every swipe for something you don't truly need is,
Mhm.
what, a small surrender?
That's the profound takeaway here, according to the source. It's a subtle surrender of your future self, your future autonomy. You're mortgaging your most valuable asset, your time, your future work, for that instant gratification.
And it enables this cycle, right? Buy now, pay later. But the later means you're always playing catch up.
Precisely. The source argues that for many, credit cards become the tool that allows them to fund a lifestyle based on wants today by sacrificing freedom tomorrow. It leads to the situation where your income is already spoken for, just paying off past choices.
Leaving very little room for actual saving or investing or even just dealing with an emergency.
Right. You end up working just to service the debt from past indulgences. It traps you in that perpetual cycle. The source calls that inescapable hole.
So the real cost isn't just the interest, which can be bad enough.
No, it's the ownership of your future earnings, and by extension, your time, your freedom. That's what's being handed over in this perspective.
It really highlights that critical difference, doesn't it, between
Mhm.
maybe using credit strategically for an investment versus funding a lifestyle based on wants.
It does. It challenges us to ask, what is the genuine long-term cost of that temporary convenience, that instant buzz of getting something new?
It's a sobering perspective on the invisible chines of debt. But okay, shifting gears a bit. From personal debt, the source then challenges us to look at something even more fundamental, the very institutions we trust with our money, our banks.
Mm-hmm.
It suggests that traditional banking methods,
Mm.
the bedrock of financial security for so many, might actually be subtly costing us.
Yeah.
That definitely makes you pause.
It's provocative, for sure. It goes against decades of kind of ingrained financial advice, doesn't it?
Totally.
The source argues that traditional banks, even though they seem secure, can quietly chip away at your capital. Firstly, it talks about commissions,
Commissions.
like fees.
Exactly. It says you pay a commission when you put the money in. You pay a commission when you ask them to give your money back. It's referring to those often overlooked charges. Monthly maintenance fees, ATM withdrawal fees if it's out of network, overdraft penalties, maybe even small transaction charges.
Things that seem tiny on their own. Right. But collectively, over time, they just nibble away at your money. You're essentially paying just to hold your own funds there.
So it's not just about what you earn, it's what you might be losing just by having money in certain accounts. And the source specifically targets savings accounts too, right?
Absolutely. This is probably the bigger point in today's economy. It critiques the interest rates on traditional savings accounts. The source is blunt, calls them a joke, and points out crucially that depending on where you live, they're not even keeping up with inflation.
Inflation,
Yeah.
the silent killer of savings.
Precisely. If the interest your savings earn is less than the rate prices are going up, your money is actually losing purchasing power, even if the number in your account stays the same or goes up slightly.
So if your money isn't growing at least as fast as inflation, you're effectively getting poorer in real terms.
That's the argument.
The implication, then, is that putting money in the bank in a volatile economy is costing you money on both the short and long term. It really sounds like the source is saying those old rules, just save your money in the bank, don't quite apply anymore.
That's the core message. The old advice might not be enough or even helpful given how things are now. The profound insight, I think, is that passive money just sitting there, not actively working, is slowly losing its value.
So it's not about ditching banks entirely.
No, not necessarily. But it's about being smarter, choosing products that actually serve your needs, not ones that quietly drain your wealth through fees or inflation erosion. It really comes back to financial literacy, understanding how money works today.
Being proactive, not passive.
Exactly. Seeking options where your money can at least hold its value, or ideally grow, not just letting it sit there and depreciate in real terms.
The source mentions a book.
Yeah, it mentions Money Master the Game as a resource for exploring alternatives, just as an example the source provides, not something we're endorsing. But the point is, be more strategic than just parking your cash in a standard savings account.
That's a really strong call for financial literacy.
Yeah.
And that idea of money working for you leads us to the next point, which is, well, possibly even more controversial, taxes.
Always a fun topic.
Our source makes this really bold claim. It says, quote, poor people pay more taxes because they're not creating the same type of value in the marketplace as the rich are.
Oof. Yeah, that's definitely a statement that challenges common perceptions about fairness and how the economy works.
So how does the source justify this?
Well, it presents it as a kind of stark economic reality, saying, like it or not, it is the truth. It claims that, specifically in the U.S., the rich leverage their wealth to create more value, and their state rewards them for that fairly.
Okay, important disclaimer here. This is absolutely the source's interpretation of the tax system and investment incentives. We're just reporting it.
Crucial point, yes. Then it shifts to something maybe more relatable for many people, that annual feeling around tax time, the tax return shock.
Hmm.
The source observes that people are often happy when their tax returns come back. You know, that feeling of relief, maybe excitement, getting that refund check.
Oh, yeah, totally. It often feels like a bonus, doesn't it? Like free money you can suddenly use for something.
Right. But the source completely reframes that feeling. It argues that is your money. The state is just giving it back to you. And here's the kicker. You've just been robbed because that money doesn't carry any interest.
Robbed.
Yeah.
Wow. So the argument is you've essentially given the government an interest-free loan.
That's exactly the perspective. The profound insight here is that your tax refund isn't a bonus. It's often a sign you overpaid throughout the year. You let the government hold on to your money, interest-free.
Which changes how you see that refund completely. It goes from being a gift to a missed opportunity.
Exactly. The source suggests that if you were smart with your money, you could be holding more of it in your hand than you currently are, implying maybe a lack of understanding about withholdings or tax planning.
So it raises this question about financial education again. Can people learn to manage their taxes more efficiently? Adjust withholdings, maybe?
So they keep more of their money working for them during the year instead of letting the government hold it. That's the core idea, being proactive to minimize that interest-free loan you're giving.
Maximizing your own cash flow, your own potential to use that money.
It's a shift from passively waiting for a refund to actively managing your tax situation throughout the year.
Okay, from the seemingly mundane but impactful world of banking and taxes, let's pivot. Let's talk about something often linked with hope, maybe excitement, but which our source flags as a major financial drain. Gambling.
Ah, yes, the lottery ticket retirement plan.
Huh. The source really cuts to the chase here. It says, when people say you got to spend money to make money, our source argues they were not talking about lottery tickets. A direct challenge to that idea of quick luck.
It's a critical distinction, isn't it? The source doesn't just critique gambling in general, it highlights a specific pattern. It notes that poor people spend exponentially more money on scratch tickets, on slot machines, and at casinos than everybody else.
Why? What's the driving force there, according to the source?
They all dream of winning big. It points to this reliance on really low probability events as a way out of financial hardship, instead of maybe focusing on systematic, longer-term strategies.
It's the allure of the instant fix, the one-in-a-million shot.
Exactly. That often overshadows the slower, maybe less thrilling, but more reliable path to financial stability. And the source uses some pretty stark stats to back this up.
Like what?
Well, for example, the average person in Australia apparently loses just under $1,000 a year to gambling. And in the UK, it says a staggering 70% of the population plays the lottery regularly. That shows how widespread it is.
It's huge. A regular habit for that many people. And it's not just anecdotes, right? There's research.
Yeah. The source cites a specific study from Yale back in 2012. It found that those in the lowest fifth in terms of socioeconomic status had the highest rate of lottery gambling at 61%.
61%.
And they also had the highest average number of days gambled in the past year, over 26 days. So for many, it's not just a casual thing, it's a regular activity.
So the profound insight here is,
It's that dangerous allure of quick wealth clashing with the cold, hard reality of the odds. It's not just the money loss which adds up, but the huge amount of time, emotional energy, and frankly, misplaced hope poured into something incredibly unlikely.
it raises that question again, what drives this? Desperation. And how can people shift focus from that false promise to more reliable ways to grow financially?
Like consistent saving, learning new skills, maybe strategic investing. Things that are slower, yes, but actually have a decent probability of success.
The source basically says gambling offers this dream of escape,
Yeah.
but usually just drains finances further for most people.
Perpetuating the very cycle it's supposed to break. That's the harsh reality presented.
Okay, let's shift gears now, moving from institutions and systems to more personal spending habits. Let's talk about expenses driven purely by, well, image. Our source makes a pretty pointed observation about what it calls glam and beautification. It asks this really direct, almost confrontational question.
Uh-oh.
Have you seen the nails and the haircuts on people who can't even afford to fix their cars? Ouch. That's blunt.
It is blunt, and it's designed to make you stop and think critically about priorities. What's real financial health versus just looking the part?
How does it critique this spending?
It highlights how futile the effort can seem. It says, you've worked your butt off the entire week, and then reward yourself with a new hairstyle that's going to fade away in 2 weeks. And for what? to impress people who are not doing any better than yourself.
So it's suggesting this potential trap,
Mm.
spending to keep up appearances for an audience that might be facing similar struggles.
Exactly. Instead of investing that time and money into lasting improvements in your own situation, it suggests this chase for external validation, looking a certain way, becomes a sort of unconscious financial drain.
It's a sharp critique of a common behavior.
Yeah.
And the source contrasts this directly with how it portrays the wealthy, right?
Yes, it claims almost all rich people have the same simple haircut, and that none of the successful women entrepreneurs have diamonds or add-ons to their nails. It suggests a real disconnect between the perception of wealth and maybe how it's actually expressed by those who have it.
So the core message is about
Prioritization, plain and simple. The source advises, fix your life and then you'll be able to do whatever you want with excess capital. Instead of throwing money out the window, start fixing your windows.
fix the foundations before the facade.
Precisely. The profound insight is that difference between outward appearance and actual financial health. It pushes us to ask, where do we really get our sense of value? From what we show people or what we build for the long term?
The source really challenges the idea that spending on looking good is a path to improvement, suggesting it often holds people back, diverting money from real needs to fleeting optics.
Are we buying admiration or are we building a future? That seems to be the underlying question.
Okay, from that broader idea of outward appearances, let's zoom in on something even more common, maybe more insidious for our wallets. Impulse purchases.
Ah, the siren song of the checkout aisle.
Totally. Our source paints such a relatable picture. No, you don't need 6 phone cases, the funky socks, kitchen appliances you only used once, and the list goes on forever. We've all been there, right?
Oh, absolutely. And the source digs into the psychology behind it. It asserts that companies are brainwashing you into thinking you need said product, despite you only wanting it.
Highlighting the power of marketing to blur that line between needs and wants.
Deliberately blurring it. And the key lesson here, according to the source, is fundamental. The moment you learn the difference between need and want, you'll begin to take control of your life.
So it's not just about budgeting, it's deeper. It's about reclaiming control over your own desires versus manufactured ones.
Becoming a conscious consumer, not just reacting to ads or displays.
And the cumulative impact of these small, oh, it's only a few dollars impulse buys. It's huge, according to the source's stats.
Staggering, actually. It cites a UK study. The average Brit will spend over £150,000 on impulse purchases in his or her lifetime.
£150,000, that's a house deposit or a massive chunk of retirement.
Exactly. And for Americans, it says the average American spends north of $5,000 per year on these things.
$5,000 a year just on impulse stuff.
The profound insight here is really seeing the power of marketing, yes, but also the huge impact of these small, seemingly insignificant spends adding up over time. They're not just one-offs, they're habitual drains.
Bleeding your finances dry, almost unnoticed.
It raises that crucial question. How much better could your life genuinely be if that money, thousands a year, potentially hundreds of thousands over a lifetime, went towards paying down debt faster, building a solid emergency fund, or funding long-term investments?
Things that could actually change your financial future.
Right. These impulse buys give a quick thrill, but the source argues they're often a silent killer of real financial progress. They stop you accumulating actual wealth.
Speaking of things we maybe don't truly need, let's tackle another area where money vanishes quickly for a lot of people. The desire for the latest tech, cutting-edge gadgets.
The annual phone upgrade ritual.
Exactly. Our source finds it weird to look at people who, are not doing that well financially, spend ridiculous amounts of money buying the latest tech every damn year, pointing to that upgrade trap.
It does, and it makes a really crucial distinction here, one that's often missed. It says, you cannot afford the new iPhone. You may have the money to pay for it, but you can't afford it. There is a difference.
Okay, explain that. Having the money versus affording it.
It means just because you have the cash right now doesn't mean buying it aligns with your overall financial health, your goals, your priorities. Can you really afford it when you consider the opportunity cost? What else could that money do?
Right. The source emphasizes prioritization again, doesn't it? Saying something like, you don't need a large flat-screen TV when your household obviously needs maintenance.
Yes. It suggests that immediate, non-essential gratification often wins out over dealing with more pressing, fundamental needs. Home repairs, car maintenance, building savings, things that provide real stability.
So it's not just the upfront cost, it's the hidden cost. What that money could have done to genuinely improve your situation or secure your future. And there's a point about product life cycle too.
Exactly. It says, people who take care of their belongings enjoy using them for longer periods of time, thus saving themselves money, either on maintenance or just the cost of replacing things so often.
Being less wasteful, essentially.
The profound insight is really understanding true affordability beyond just having the cash. It's thinking long term, opportunity cost, prioritizing stability over constant short term upgrades driven by marketing and maybe social pressure.
It really asks, are your purchases serving your long-term goals? Or just satisfying immediate desires and trends?
Are you diverting resources for more impactful investments in your future? It's about shifting from just being a consumer to being more like a strategic manager of your own assets, even your personal stuff.
Okay, from individual tech, let's get into a more social side of spending. One the source describes with pretty vivid detail, balling at the club.
Ah, the champagne lifestyle for a night.
Right. The source captures that initial buzz. It feels good, popping bottles at the club, people looking at you, and the champagne is brought to your table. It paints that picture of fleeting glamour, perceived status.
It does. But then it immediately slams you with the contrast, the harsh reality that comes next.
Which is?
But you know what doesn't feel good? Going back to that low-wage 9 to 5 for another full month, just so you can feel like that again for a couple of hours.
Oof. That really highlights how temporary it is and the huge cost in terms of your time and effort just to get back the money spent.
Exactly. And the source's critique here is incredibly sharp. It argues, you're not a boss if you throw money around at the club. You are the product. Somebody, the real boss, is monetizing your efforts to look like you're living the life.
You're the product.
In the eyes of people who are just as broke as you are.
Wow. That is a brutal but incredibly direct take on the dynamic. It's all about the illusion of status, not actual wealth building. You're just playing a role in someone else's business.
That's the argument. And the source mentions a classic saying that sums it all up.
What's that?
It quotes an old saying among the rich that goes like this: I never see you at the club and I never see you at the bank.
Meaning the truly wealthy are busy building wealth, not flashing it.
That's the implication. The profound insight here is that stark reminder: illusion of wealth versus the often unglamorous work of actually accumulating it. It forces the question, what are you really prioritizing with your hard-earned cash?
Fleeting social validation. Or building a secure, genuinely free financial future.
It's not judging enjoyment itself, but asking you to recognize the huge long-term cost of chasing temporary approval at the expense of real stability. It's about shifting from performing wealth to actually possessing it.
That ties perfectly into a powerful bonus insight the source offers. He kind of wraps up a lot of what we've just discussed about image and perception, the idea of trying to look rich.
Yes, this is central to the source's philosophy.
It reiterates this core principle. Learn it till you earn it. It's better than fake it till you make it. That really cuts through the noise, doesn't it? It's about authenticity.
It's presented as absolutely foundational if you're serious about improving your finances, and the source uses a really simple but effective scenario to illustrate this.
Tell us about it.
Okay, imagine two people. Both start with $2,000. Person one decides to go to the club and have a blast spending $800.
Okay.
Then this person posts the pics on social media and people think he's doing really well. That's the classic fake it till you make it approach, right?
Yeah.
Focusing entirely on looking good, projecting success, spending money to look rich.
Right. And person two, same $2,000, different approach.
Completely different. The other person chooses to invest their money and gets a 10% return. So after that return, this person now has $2,200.
The contrast is stark. One has less money but looks good. The other has more money but maybe nobody noticed.
Exactly. And the source's conclusion is blunt. At the end of the day, one person looks like he's doing well while the other is actually growing his fortune. The goal is to be rich, not to look rich.
That's the core message.
Your actions should always come from a place of growth. The profound insight is that clear, measurable difference between perceived status and actual financial growth. It really hammers home the idea that truly escaping a tough situation and building real wealth comes from consistent commitment to long-term growth.
Making decisions based on that principle, not on what others might think or see.
It's about building a solid foundation from the inside out, not just putting up a pretty, but ultimately empty front.
Okay, from those visible drains like social spending and tech, let's shift to another big one, often overlooked in its cumulative impact, especially now. Digital entertainment, specifically games and in-app purchases.
Ah, the virtual money pit.
The source suggests the numbers involved here aren't just high, they're, well, colossal.
They really are, and they shine a light on a significant, often hidden drain. The source gives some stats, starting with Fortnite.
Popular game.
Very. It says 70% of Fortnite players spend money in the game. And for those who do spend, the average amount for digital items in Fortnite alone is $84.67.
$85 on average, just on virtual stuff in one game.
And then there's Candy Crush. At one point, the source notes it was making $3 million a day from people buying extra lives or whatever they use to purchase in the game.
$3 million a day.
Staggering amounts of real money flowing into virtual items, digital experiences that don't really build any tangible asset.
It's incredible. But the source suggests the biggest cost here isn't just the money. Even with these huge figures, it points to something even more valuable being consumed.
That's right. It really emphasizes that the biggest value lost isn't the cash spent, but the vast amount of time that is wasted.
Time.
The source illustrates this powerfully. It says, it is super easy to look at your stream numbers and see the hours you put into a single game. If you consider yourself a gamer, it's easy to match 1,000 hours of gameplay in a year.
1,000 hours in 1 year.
And it even adds, kind of dryly, some might say those are rookie numbers, just to highlight how immersive and time-consuming this can be for many people.
Wow. 1,000 hours. That's more than half a full-time job's worth of hours.
Yeah.
And the source puts a dollar value on that time.
It does. That's where the impact really hits. Assuming an average wage of, say, $20 per hour, that 1,000 hours translates to easily $20,000 you're leaving on the table.
$20,000 of potential earnings just gone into gaming time.
And that's before you even factor in the cost of buying the game, the console, the system, and all those in-game purchases we just talked about.
So the profound insight isn't just lost money, it's lost opportunity.
Exactly. It's money unearned. But it's also skills not learned, networks not built, potential side businesses not started. For someone serious about growth, imagine redirecting those 1,000 hours.
You could learn a high-income skill online, build a freelance portfolio.
Start an online business maybe, something that leverages your time for actual financial gain instead of just entertainment consumption. It really raises that crucial question about the value of your time.
How are you prioritizing your free time? Could even a fraction of it be shifted to activities that build long-term financial stability or skills, rather than just temporary distraction?
Recognizing that time, especially in those huge chunks, is a non-renewable asset, and it has significant potential earning power.
Okay, moving into our final section now. Let's talk about something absolutely fundamental, but often neglected, which leads to huge financial problems down the road. Our health.
Crucial.
Our source uses this really vivid, kind of ominous image. It calls neglecting health an ever-increasing dragon. That really captures how problems can escalate, right?
It does. The core argument is simple but powerful. The more you ignore it, the bigger it gets, and the more damage it will do to your life.
And it gives concrete examples.
Yes, clear, relatable ones. If you don't want to go to the dentist to fix a cavity, maybe because of the cost or inconvenience, eventually you'll have to pay for an implant, which is way more expensive and invasive.
Makes sense.
Similarly, if you skip checkups, avoid preventative care because you don't want to pay, the source suggests you'll have to be hospitalized if you want to survive when something serious develops undetected.
And then it drops that really stark line.
Yeah, it's cheaper to pay for a doctor's visit than for a funeral. It's grim, but it drives the point home about the ultimate cost of neglect.
It seems the source identifies a specific, maybe counterintuitive mindset here among those struggling financially.
Yes, it says, for some reason, the less fortunate think that if they just ignore the issue, it'll go away. But that is not working well for anyone.
So the profound insight is seeing preventative care not just as good for your health, but as a vital financial investment.
Absolutely. Neglecting health today doesn't make problems vanish. It almost guarantees bigger, more complex, and way more expensive problems later, potentially leading to financial ruin through medical bills or simply being unable to work.
So it raises the question, how much future financial pain, maybe even devastation, can you avoid by making smart, proactive health choices now, even if it means a small upfront cost for a checkup or healthier food?
It reframes health spending. It's not just an optional expense. It's critical financial protection. It's an investment in your ability to earn money and just live your life.
Okay, building on that idea of preventable but significant future costs, the source then links addiction directly to financial drain, specifically smoking and vaping.
Right.
It notes that the same people who gamble are also the most probable to build other addictions, suggesting maybe a pattern of seeking immediate gratification or escape.
That observation does suggest a common thread, doesn't it? A vulnerability to things that offer a quick reward or escape, but have a high long-term price, whether it's gambling or substances.
And the source gives figures for the direct financial cost.
It does. Acknowledging prices vary. It uses an average. The average pack of cigarettes costs $6.28. So a pack-a-day habit, that's $188 per month or $2,292 per year.
Over $2,000 a year, that's significant on its own.
But that's just the start. The real impact is when you look at it over time.
Wait, project that out.
The source calculates 10 years of smoking comes with a $22,920 price tag, minimum.
$23,000, basically. Up in smoke, literally.
And it drives the point home even harder. If both partners smoke or vape, one of you is working an entire month just to cover the smoking expenses.
Thinking about it in terms of your labor, your time required just to fund the habit.
That really puts it in perspective. And it touches on the bigger picture, too.
Yeah, mentioning roughly 1.1 billion people smoking in the world and how vaping is taking over, with companies seeing higher profits than ever. It's a massive, pervasive drain on global finances, individually and collectively.
So the profound insight is the huge cumulative financial drain. It's not just the direct cost. No, it's the massive opportunity cost of that money over a lifetime. What could that $23,000 or much more over decades have become if invested? And that's before you even start considering the enormous health costs that inevitably follow.
So the question becomes, what freedom, financially and personally, could you gain by breaking that cycle? Redirecting those significant funds towards building a healthier, more secure future.
Exactly. The source even recommends a specific resource, Alan Carr's Easy Way to Stop Smoking, just as a suggestion from the source itself, pointing out that there are ways to break these costly habits.
Okay, from the physical costs of addiction, let's pivot slightly. Let's talk about the temptation of miracle cures, weird fitness products, and teleshopping.
Ah, the quick fix industry.
Right. Our source tackles this head-on with a really blunt challenge. It took you 20 years to get this fat. Do you think you can safely drop 50% of your weight in 3 weeks with some miracle tea? It just cuts right through the hype.
It's a direct assault on that promise of effortless transformation that's everywhere, isn't it? And the source debunks it by explaining the reality behind fitness marketing.
What's the reality?
The super ripped people you see in those videos are personal trainers whose job it is to work out 14 hours a day every day. That's what they do for a living. It's not something the average person achieves just by buying a product.
Right. It's not realistic, and the marketing is misleading. And it lists examples of useless products.
Oh, yeah. Things designed to prey on that desire for ease. You don't need a roll-up piano, the shake weight, or the pajama jeans, things that promise results without real effort.
So these products aren't just ineffective, they're wasteful. And maybe they prey on that very natural human desire for a shortcut.
That seems to be the argument. And the fundamental truth the source offers instead is refreshingly simple and free.
What is it?
The only way to get in shape is to take ownership. You're going to stop eating so damn much, and you're going to go for a walk or run once in a while. That's all there is to it, and you don't have to spend a penny.
Basically, diet and exercise. No magic required.
The core message is profound. You don't need a product. You need to work on your mindset. This echoes across so many points, doesn't it? The real solution isn't buying something external.
It's internal discipline, self-ownership, changing behavior.
Exactly. It raises that crucial question. Where are you looking for easy answers or outside fixes when the real path forward needs internal discipline, consistent effort, and a mindset shift?
And the source recommends another book here.
Yeah, Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. Again, just as a resource the source suggests for cultivating that critical mindset of taking responsibility.
Okay, staying with that theme of quick fixes and external solutions, especially ones offering hope or prosperity, let's touch on a sensitive area. Lucky Charms or spiritual items.
Yeah. Tread carefully here.
The source asks this very pointed question. Isn't it ironic how people without money spend the little money they do have on Lucky Charms or stones that are supposed to bring more wealth into their lives, challenging the basic premise?
It's a direct, almost confrontational challenge, isn't it? Questioning if buying an object can magically change your finances. The source is incredibly direct.
How direct?
It says, you know what would make you $49 richer? Not spending $49 on rocks. And it dismisses fancier terms, saying, no, we don't care that you call them crystals or minerals. Just hammering the point about tangible financial gain.
So it sees it purely as a financial transaction with no real return.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond individual items. It critiques organizations, too.
It does, stating, "Don't even get us started on spiritual items. Even mentioning refraining from a purchase of a crucifix in Latin America or Eastern Europe will get you labeled as a heretic," highlighting the cultural weight.
That's a strong statement about the cultural pressure. But then the source makes a serious accusation about how some organizations operate, especially regarding vulnerable people.
It claims, very controversially, that it's actually the poor that these organizations prey on to get their hands on the little they do have.
That's a very strong claim.
Extremely. The profound insight here, setting aside individual beliefs, is how this points to the vulnerability of people in tough spots. Vulnerable to promises of quick, external solutions, whether it's gambling, miracle cures, or items promising wealth without effort.
It raises that question about critical thinking, doesn't it?
Absolutely. How can individuals learn to distinguish between genuine support or personal meaning and practices that might be exploiting hope or desperation, regardless of the belief system?
The source argues that real financial improvement comes from tangible actions, effort, sound principles.
Not from buying an object or relying solely on external, non-quantifiable forces. That's the core argument presented.
Okay, our final point from the source, and this is perhaps one of the most controversial and challenging ones today: donations.
Right? Giving to charity.
The source presents a very, very critical view. It states, when you donate money to a cause, that money doesn't go to the people in need, it goes to paying the salaries of the people involved with the charity. That challenges a really common act of generosity.
It does. And this source, again, pulls no punches. It makes the provocative claim that charities are one of the biggest scams in the world, and that they prey on the poor because for some reason they feel the need to support other poor people without realizing what they are actually doing.
Okay, we need to stress again that this is the source's very strong, direct opinion. A fundamental challenge to how most people view charity. Does it offer any data for this?
It does provide some stats to back its claim. It says, on average, the general manager, the boss of the organization, earns about $250,000 per year as a salary paid by the charity, citing this as an average from top UK charities, but suggesting it's similar worldwide.
$250,000 salary paid by donations. So the argument is a big chunk doesn't reach the beneficiaries. It goes to high admin costs.
Yeah.
And other costs, too.
Yes, it details further operational costs, claiming almost 35% of the money that goes to charity is reinvested in fundraisers for the charity, and the spiral goes on and on, painting this picture of a system consuming a large part of donations just to keep itself going.
A self-perpetuating cycle in this view.
Right. So the profound insight here is the source challenging us to critically evaluate the efficacy and direct impact of charitable giving, at least as it's often done through large organizations. It forces the question, how can you ensure your desire to help actually reaches those in need?
And are there alternative, maybe more direct, more empowering ways to help?
That's exactly what the source suggests. It offers a specific alternative, a more hands-on approach. Instead of hitting up a telethon, buy some products for the local shelter, or figure out how to create opportunities for these people.
The old teach a man how to fish idea.
Precisely. Teach a man how to fish instead of giving him a fish. It encourages shifting from passive giving to active, direct engagement, aiming to create self-sufficiency, not just perpetuate dependency. It's a very challenging perspective on a widely accepted practice. Hashtag outro.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive today. Wow. We've really navigated through a provocative landscape of observations from that source: money mistakes, how the poor waste their wealth. We've looked at how seemingly small things or even well-intentioned actions, along with common financial habits, can really add up and silently hold back financial progress.
It covered a lot of ground, from credit card debt and traditional banking issues.
Right, to the traps of gambling, the pressures of spending on image, the surprising cost of digital entertainment.
And then the really critical costs of neglecting health, the allure of quick fixes, and even those controversial takes on spiritual spending and large-scale donations.
It's been a stark, pretty unfiltered look, based entirely on the source material, at where money can just unknowingly slip away.
Yeah, and the theme that really comes through, I think, across all these points,
That's right.
it's that recognizing these patterns, really understanding their true cost, not just the dollar amount, but the opportunity cost, the time cost, and confronting our own habits. That's the crucial first step.
Taking control, making choices that actually serve your future self.
Exactly. Cultivating that mindset the source talks about. Aiming to be rich, not just look rich. Discerning needs from wants. Committing to sustained growth, not chasing quick fixes.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener, as you reflect on these 15 points we've unpacked? Maybe consider where your own resources might be unknowingly draining away.
And remember, the goal here wasn't shame. It was about empowerment through awareness, through critical self-assessment.
Absolutely. So here's a final thought to leave you with, something maybe to chew on. If you were to consciously, thoughtfully redirect even a small fraction of the money currently flowing into just one or two of these categories we discussed today, what kind of real, tangible growth could you create? What kind of stability? What kind of maybe peace of mind could you build in your life? Say, over the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years.
Imagine the possibilities if every dollar spent became a truly conscious decision, deliberately aligned with your long-term well-being.
It's something to think about. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive, exploring where money can unknowingly slip away. We really hope this exploration has given you plenty to consider and maybe sparked some tangible shifts in your own financial perspective. Thanks for watching this. See you in the next episode. Like, subscribe, and share.